Hey everybody, how's it going? This is your broadcaster, Master Cloud, and I am back for another cast of The Lord of the Rings, The Battle from Earth to the Rise of the Witch King. Today's matchup is going to be a 4 versus 4 on a map that I've never actually casted before. This is a brand new map made by someone in the Lord of the Rings community. So I'm very excited to be able to show you guys this map and show you guys this game, which I've heard is quite good, which is quite long. So I hope you guys are all set. Sit down, lay down, grab a bag of popcorn, get ready to enjoy yourself some Lord of the Rings. Let's go ahead and jump into the player introduction. Spawning in the upper left-hand side here as Isengard, it is going to be the Ring. Now his ally here over towards the center, spawning as goblins, is going to be Jawdatll. We're just going to call him Jaw because, hey, why not? Spawning behind him here is going to be CS. He is, of course, spawning as dwarves there. And finally, their last ally spawning on the far right-hand side is going to be Andy. Andy, a member of the staff over at GameReplays.org, actually working on the next version of the patch. And before we go any farther, I should go ahead and mention that this is on the 2.02 version currently that these guys are playing on. And that is, of course, 2.02 version 4. Now, let's introduce the other players spawning in the lower left-hand side as Mordor. It is going to be Bushit. Mordor, of course, my favorite race. So, actually, if Mordor was a type of rice, I would definitely buy it and eat it too. But in this particular instance, it's just going to be a race. So, Bushit spawning as Mordor, and I'm interested to see what he decides to go ahead and do with that. His ally towards the center here is going to be BlueKnight. Also a administrator actually over at GameReplays.org for the Lord of the Rings. So very familiar with the game, very familiar with the units, with the strategies. We'll have to see what he utilizes in this game. Also a fellow caster. Spawning behind him is going to be ProStrat. This, of course, I may refer to him as Smoke because that is his nickname among us. He's also over at GameReplays.org and a staff member there. And finally, their last ally as Agmar is going to be Pink. Now, as you guys can see, there's going to be tons of battles all over this map. So I'm going to do my best to try and keep you guys up to date with what is actually happening here. But so far, it looks like we just had a couple of small skirmishes around the map. Nothing huge. Before we get into this too far, let's take a look at the map. As you can see, there's a couple of right layers off to the very far right-hand side. It's basically, if you guys have seen or played on the map Tournament Hills, that is the map that this is based on. However, as you can see, a lot has been removed, turned into a little bit more of a swampland, maybe a little bit desert, sort of savanna-ish. We have the outposts in each of the top corners. Is there actually a signal fire on this map? I don't believe so. No signal fire, so an outpost in each of the corners is going to be very important for units to go ahead or for players to go ahead and capture those. Now, Bushit actually technically pronounced Bushit, but as many of you know, Bushit, also known as Ice Vice, was in a very tragic accident when he was a small child. It involved him and a bus, and ever since, he's never quite been the same. But anyways, he's still quite good at Lord of the Rings here, so it's we'll have to actually see his strategy here. Has a ton of Orc warriors out and a couple of archers to back them up. I like the beginning strategy here from him. It looks like he does actually own the outpost in the bottom left there, and now is moving forward with a ton of Orcs. Actually has some in the back as well. We do have a beacon going down here to the center as a Dwarven Mind of CS here has been spotted by the Rohirrim, and they are going to get around the backside there and take off that mine quite easily. So our Dwarven player here going to be pushed back, albeit temporarily. Now pushing forward with a couple of pikes and guardians of his own. Couple of mortar archers here from Bushit moving in from the center is trying to help, but those archers just do not do enough damage to these dwarves, which have a ton of health and will need to retreat as soon as he realizes he is losing these to a group of phalanxes here. On the right-hand side, it looks like our men player, who is this again? This is going to be Andy, who actually used to be a very, actually still is very, very good at Lord of the Rings. Used to be one of the top experts. Currently, he's actually in charge of making the next patch for the game, which of course is going to be very exciting once it is finally released. But actually is moving here, trying to take out the Agmar player Pink, and is going to get a nice wraparound on one of these mines that will go down, especially with the rally call there. Look how much damage those units do. Really great surround on that mine by Andy, and could potentially engage this. I think he could actually beat this with all these Gondor soldiers as well as a couple of Rohan spearmen, and will decide to fight now, throws his units into, actually does not throw them in the formation, the shield formation. Now he does, as both units are now in the shield formation. A couple of pikemen here is going to be engaging. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the map, the Goblins in a little bit of trouble over here. Jaw losing a couple of his mines, a couple of Elven warriors, the Lorien warriors around the backside here are going to continue to do a lot of damage. Prince Brand is actually out for the Dwarves, as our Dwarven player CS has gone for Prince Brand. Like the strategy, always love to see Prince Brand out on the field, as he's an incredibly powerful hero. We have a ton of Rohirrim out here from Smoke as he begins to take out some of those outposts, denying a large amount of income to his opponents here. Ice Vice using basically just maxing out right now, beginning to go up to a little bit higher tier of units, I would imagine. Is going to be throwing a couple of Haradrim. Also has one of my favorite heroes out, Mouth of Sauron. Love to see Mouth of Sauron on the field. A very, very powerful hero. Very, very helpful in terms of being able to deal a lot of damage actually quite quickly. A very mobile unit. Also has some very great abilities, especially that Descent ability at level 10. Of course, Evil Eye, also incredibly powerful, and the weakness, or the Doubt ability rather, all of which are incredibly useful abilities. Want to use them pretty much non-stop as their timers do come up. Angmar player on the right, Pink moving forward a little bit, able to push back a couple of Andy's forces here, and Andy going to be in not trouble, but is going to be having a little bit tough time pushing too much farther in, as there is a ton of Angmar troops now on the field here. Towards the center, a huge unit of Goblins moving forward are going to find a ton of Dwarves as they evacuate into the mine here. And actually, I believe those guys are on the same team, so they wouldn't have battled anyways. But nevertheless, I'm not sure why these Dwarves are retreating. They need to exit the mine and begin engaging, I think, some of these Elves here from BlueKnight, who is pushing forward, does have the Mirkwood archers now out in the back here. Really like this, as he's positioned his troops in a very intelligent way, putting those archers in the back, and all of the defensive units up front here. Actually has thrown some of them into defensive mode. Is going to begin working on that barracks while these archers begin to work on some of these Goblins. Would like to see a rally call or something go down here if he has it. Not sure if it's available to him right now. We'll have to take a look at the PowerPoints later. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Bushit beginning to deal a lot of damage to the ring here, and he is going to be losing his clan steading, it looks like, and that is a very expensive loss. That building costs 600 to build, so he does not want to lose that if he can help it. But I think with that almost complete surround here, that building is going to go down, and the ring looking to be in a little bit of trouble here, as Mouth of Sauron, actually not involved in this battle, could actually come over here and do a significant more amount of damage. And right now, the top team looking to be in a lot of trouble. However, a ton of Dwarves somehow got into the backside here. These are owned by CS, I believe. Yes, they are. And Amber is actually out for probably Smoke, I would assume. ProStrat, yeah. But right now, he's just going to be dealing with a couple of Andy's troops. He cannot engage these Dwarves. They are too powerful. There's the builder. There goes up an additional mine, as CS really focusing on this back attack, really. I mean, he's sneaking in through the back. It's not really a sneak attack anymore, because obviously they know he's there. But meanwhile, up in the front, BlueKnight pushing forward. There goes the rally call down. These archers dealing terrible, terrible damage. The Goblins just not able to deal with these archers. I mean, even if they can get up close, the archers take these out in one hit. And here comes Bushit from the left-hand side with a ton of Orcs, a couple of Easterlings as well. And I think these archers, even though they're quite up close with these Goblins, should be just fine, especially with BlueKnight microing them like this. And these Goblin warriors are all going to die very, very quickly here. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, it looks like our Dwarven player is going to be moving in towards Pink, trying to help Andy deal with Angmar here. It looks like there's going to be somewhat of a focused strategy here in order to take out Pink. The men up in the top right taking out an additional mine, now beginning to work on the fortress. And Pink here in a lot of trouble. The freeze spell goes down. These units, these buildings, I don't believe they can produce. They also can't be damaged. And without being able to produce, he actually didn't catch his fortress in that, so his fortress is still taking a ton of damage. I think a little bit of a misclick there by Pink, as he's losing a ton of health on his fortress, and that fortress is definitely going to go down. He has an almost complete surround. More units now, throws down the spell, because why not? His fortress is about to fall. But Pink loses his fortress, and suddenly the team on the top looking incredibly powerful. On the left-hand side, Isengard looks like did manage to survive, but that's mainly because I believe Bushit here deciding not to finish him off, instead deciding rather to send his units to the right, letting Isengard rebuild, but rather focusing on the players in the top right. And our top team here doing quite excellent as they have taken out this fortress now. And even though the bottom team, I don't know, I think I got the teams a little confused there for a second. But either way, our team on the bottom is actually looking to be in a little bit of trouble. I mean, they have basically all their other bases are fine right now, but they've lost the player on the right-hand side. And that means their right flank is slow, or on the right-hand side rather, that means their right flank is slowly going to collapse as he cannot basically deal with the forces of Andy. As well as some of the dwarves are still here as well. I do hear Tom Bombadil getting summoned somewhere. Let's go ahead and take a moment while we watch this huge epic battle here in the center. We actually have Coda out now as well for Smoke, but I want to take a second to see the spells these players have gone for. First, Jaw, it looks like he just has the War Chant so far. We do have actually 13 power points here saved up for CS. Needs to spend those as soon as he gets the chance. The Ring going for a couple of small spells. BlueKnight choosing to go for Tom Bombadil there. Pink has lost his fortress, so none of those spells are really relevant at the moment. We do have the Hobbit spell for Andy. Bushit, 2 level 5 spells, almost up to that level 10. ProStrat, the Rallying Call, as well as the Rebuild. And that is going to be all of them. So nothing too high and powerful at this point in the game. But as this game carries on, we will have to see how those players decide to use those power points. Tom Bombadil in the middle of this Goblin camp doing a lot of damage. Here comes the Sonic Blast as he takes out basically 2 complete units there. Tom Bombadil, an incredibly powerful spell, especially for level 10, I would say, as he seems to do a ton of damage and has basically a ton of health. Very hard to take down. There goes a shot from Prince Brand. Going to be able to pick off a couple of these units from ProStrat, but not doing nearly enough damage. And this Goblin player is in a little bit of trouble on the right-hand side. Pink has lost basically everything. Has Pink actually been defeated? No, I don't think so. Looks like he has a couple of Black Numenorians still out on the field. And these units run really funny for some reason, I feel like. But nevertheless, he is still alive. I'm not quite sure what he has left. It looks like, here it is. Hall of the King's Men here in the very back, throwing up an additional mill over here, but Pink in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, Smoke's troops going to be dealing a terrible amount of damage here in the back. These Coda, Amber, as well as the Rohirrim dealing a ton of damage, just picking off farms, picking off units, picking off outposts. This is so annoying for these players to have to deal with right now. But in the meantime, in the center, BlueKnight trying to continue to push forward. But I think with all these goblins pushing forward, the team on the top side here is going to be able to hold this. A couple of Men of Dale showing up now as well for our Dwarven player CS on the left-hand side. Our Isengard player hasn't done too terrible much this game. He has rebuilt his clan setting, but in terms of actual damage dealt to the enemy, I haven't seen him around too much. Lurtz is out now, so that is going to help increase his damage. The eye goes down to check out any additional reinforcements showing up. These Easterlings cannot deal with that, as they will die almost instantly. Where is Mouth of Sauron? I wonder. There he is towards the center. Now up to almost level 5. Is going to actually find a furnace here. That's going to be a nice pickup for him if he can actually take that out. We'll definitely grab a level if that is not canceled. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, as I predicted, the Goblins and Men of Dale able to prevail over Blue Knight's forces there. These Mirkwood archers having to fall back a couple more now out on the field. Has plenty of units here. Could engage this, I think. He actually has enough Mirkwood archers now, I think, to engage this. And would like to see him push forward. Actually has Arwen out. This is unique. Has gone for Arwen as his hero of choice here. Normally you would see maybe Glorfindel, Legolas, something like that. But Arwen out is quite unique, I would say. As she's deciding to run a little bit in place, then slide along. She's got her rollerblades on today. Hey, why not? I mean, it's a beautiful day out. Go for rollerblading. It's a great time. You know, get out, enjoy the sunlight. We actually have a Mumakil out, but that's going to get taken out by a couple of these pikemen. And some very unconventional strategies, I would say, here are being displayed by Bushit as he goes for that Mumakil pit. Actually, just called a Mumak here, but I'm pretty sure it's a Mumakil. I don't know why that was shortened in the 2.02 patch. But as you guys can see, in 2.02, these units cost 1,600. That is up 600 resources from what they were in just the regular 2.01 patch. Now, that being said, they are also incredibly buffed in terms of being able to deal and survive a lot, take a lot more damage than in 2.0, than in version 2.01, which of course was the last official version released by EA for this game. Several heroes now out for Andy as he is beginning to push forward, and as I mentioned earlier, this right flank is beginning to collapse. The units can no longer harass, they now must defend, as he's basically being attacked from his right flank here. And as those units move in, he's going to begin to lose some of his farm space, begin to lose some of his resources, of course, and begin to have to worry about that attack from that side. Now, we actually have a fortress going up here for Pink. He is trying to rebuild, and he's building it very close to his allies' fortress here. Obviously, a very safe move, but would like to see him have spread that out just a little bit, as when you get so many fortresses close together, it is incredibly difficult to take down, as it almost seems slightly unfair. But nevertheless, Prince Brand there, dying very fast with those Mirkwood archers, goes down almost instantly as I pan over him there. And these units here, I think with the Mirkwoods in the back, are going to be dealing, actually now having to focus on the Spider Ridings. I was going to say those Mirkwoods should be able to deal with those quite easily, but with the Spider Ridings coming in from the top here, actually those go down very quickly, and the Pikemen in here as well. So these Mirkwoods actually surviving, and now can begin to focus on these Dwarves once again. R1 actually could go up and engage. I'm not sure why she's standing in the back there. Now begins to fight here. And these men of Dale need to retreat into that mine very quickly. They cannot deal with this amount of Mirkwoods, except all these goblins from the north, so maybe they can, as they will provide a decent enough distraction there. We do have a summon going down. I think that's going to be the Hobbit summon by, I would assume, BlueKnight. It's actually by Andy, though, as he attempts to take out all of those Mirkwood archers, but here comes the Rohirrim in with Theoden and Amber. And with that charge attack, a ton of these units are going down. Just look at the resources being spawned from Amber, but we have a Eagle summon going down as well, as this battle is a little bit laggy as these players, there's so much happening right now. Aragorn and Boromir join the battle. There goes down the Horn. The Eagles are unaffected by that, though, and they will continue to swoop in and begin taking out a lot of these troops. Whose Eagles are these? These are got to be Blue Knights, as he is the only Elven player on the field. And it looks like these are going for actually Andy's Rohirrim here. A great play by Andy with the Rohirrim charge. And these players towards the top doing incredibly well for themselves. A ton of units now out for Isengard, as well as his fortress is once again, or his base rather, is looking very set. Not really in danger of anything right now. Bushit really sitting back, building up his fortresses, thinking about the strategy that he wants to employ here. Looks like he took some preliminary damage on a couple of his buildings, but for now should be okay, as there is no impending attack. In fact, he is the one about to attack. Malthasar now finding a builder here out in the center. Could get that builder if he does not realize it, and will indeed pick that off there. Smoke now moving forward with a couple of his Rohirrim. It's time for ProStrat to take out a mine or two. Does have Theoden out. I don't see Aemir in his army, although I believe he did have him out earlier. Sometimes it gets a little confusing, guys, with both of these men players being green. But I think I've got it down. Hopefully I've got it down by this point. Meanwhile, the goblins, look how many units they have on the field. Just a mass amount of goblins spawning up here. Several of the units to the south now finally picking off a couple of these goblin caves, grabbing the extra resources. Hey, why not? This entire area is free for the taking. This outpost actually being rebuilt. Who owns this? It looks like it's going to be owned by, it doesn't actually say, our green player. So actually Andy owns that. Meanwhile, Pink trying to get back in the game. You can see him attempting to rebuild a couple of mines so he can get some actual units out on the field. ProStrat grabbing a mine or two now in the back, as there has been a slight break in the action here. But here comes the forces of the north as they do move down. Will begin to, actually all of these units are on the same team, and they're going to be launching in a huge attack against Blue Knight here, whose fortress is almost a little bit exposed, doesn't have any expansions along the side of it here. but I think he should be okay. He has plenty of units here. Actually, he has Mirkwoods out now, and there goes down a Tom Bombadil summon. And this is an incredibly powerful place to summon. Can he get the Sonic Wave off is the question, and take out probably 3 or 4 units there with that Sonic Wave. And as you can see, as soon as Tom Bombadil's on the field, these units all pull back, as that is going to scare them off almost instantly. All these Men of Dale Fire Archers upgraded are going to retreat back into that mine. 4 full units there. These goblins falling back as well. Blue Knight now pushing forward, trying to reclaim some of this territory. Meanwhile, on the top left, looks like this outpost in a little bit of danger. Amber of, I believe, ProStrat is going to escape here with maybe 1 unit of Rogue Hero. The Mumakil goes down, though. Lurt's now up to level 5 for our Isengard player. Andy helping to deal with any forces over here that were astray, but Bushit continuing to move in from the front, has another Mumakil, will begin to work what looks like on this furnace here. Or is he focusing something else? There's plenty of pikemen on the field. I think Bushit should take a rest from the Mumakil. You can see how much damage that does. 1 or 2 hits is going to take this. 1 hit takes it down half health, and the second hit going to take that furnace down instantly. Wow. Ton of power there. These pikemen going into defensive formation, as you can see there. That Mumakil actually going to be turning around, though, instead of engaging those pikemen. A smart choice here by Bushit. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, or in the lower center of the map, rather, looks like ProStrat beginning to add a couple of heroes to his army finally. Ground heroes, that is, not the horsemen. Andy moving forward with some of his units, beginning to take out some of these Mifflin sentries. All the units here of Blue Knight, very expensive units, going to be lost, as his units have been completely surrounded. I mean, he's outnumbered. He's fighting 3-on-1 here, and almost all of his units are for sure, all of his units are going to be killed. As these units continue to push forward, these goblins looking to be incredibly powerful. Spider Riders actually doesn't have any archers out, I've just noticed. That shouldn't really be a problem, as there aren't really any flying units on the enemy team. Bushit deciding not to go for Nazgul this game. Would like to see him pull out a couple of those if possible, as they can be incredibly powerful, both harass units and deterrents for enemies without archers. Along the right side, Pink continuing to retake some of that farm space. Andy also, though, thinking about taking some of this for himself. A beacon goes down by ProStrat. Apparently he sees this building going up and does not like it, so he is going to be sending his troops over to deal with that. Would like to catch that builder, I think, is what he is really hoping for. The dwarves and, well, dwarves, goblins, and men here now moving forward. Blue Knight in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't actually have a lot of troops remaining out on the field. Does have these Mirkwood archers, but they don't even have Silverthorn. Arwen is out on the field. Here comes an additional unit of sentries, as well as an additional unit of Mirkwood archers, but I'm not sure that's enough to take out all these units. But Pink, now that his fortress is back up, does have the Whirlwind back. There goes the Whirlwind, as well as the Arrow Drop, and all of these units. Is it actually going to kill all of them? Oh my gosh. The amount of damage that just did was absolutely incredible. You can see the bodies strewn across the field here, and that combo attack never ceases to amaze me at how incredibly powerful that is. A summon goes down here. It is going to be Army of the Dead, I believe, from Andy, most likely. So that is a full Army of the Dead, and that's going to mean death to all of the... Yes, it is by Andy. That is going to mean death to pretty much all of these Mirkwood troops and sentries here. Azog out as well, level 3, and this fortress is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Our bottom team here looking to be pushed basically back against their doorstep here. The Army of the Dead almost gone. The Oathbreakers will be closing up here soon, but Andy is in here with all of his troops. The dwarves in the front as well, in terms of both the Guardians as well as the Men of Dale. Here comes the Breaking Dawn Light, or whatever, Cloud Break I believe it's called. As this fortress begins to take a ton of damage, where are the troops from Smoke to aid? Here they come, but perhaps too little too late, as this fortress is looking to be a little bit of trouble. He does have the rebuild still, I was just about to say, as that in fact does go down, and then a spell from from Pink as well to go ahead and freeze that fortress, preventing it from taking damage. Bushit now moving in from the left-hand side to help his friends. Mouth of Sauron up to level 5 now. Actually would expect him to be higher by now, but nevertheless, he is going to be joining up here. And with all of these troops showing up, I think these forces are going to have to fall back. These players losing a majority of their forces and are going to begin to have to rebuild. But meanwhile, Bushit now in a little bit of trouble as the forces of the ring are moving forward, finally beginning to launch his attack here. Has some decently upgraded troops. Lurtz, level 6, does have that leadership bonus, so powerful for the Isengard troops here. And Andy going to be in a little bit of trouble here. He has plenty of defenses all around his fortress, though. Is actually building that, I believe it's called a Watcher expansion. Yeah, the Gate Watchers expansion. Is throwing that down to help protect his fortress over here on the left-hand side. Has a catapult as well. So even though I think these forces are getting a little close to his fortress, he should be okay for now. There isn't a lot of siege here, to be completely honest. So his fortress should be pretty well defended. Andy on the right-hand side, taking out a couple of Angmar troops, but will lose his catapult there. That's not really something you want to lose to a bunch of Angmar, Gundabad warriors. As the purchase of that is actually 600, and those Gundabad warriors, it's a Thrall Master, 200 there. So definitely not a good trade for him there. However, he does have plenty of troops, did clean it up, so should be able to maintain this position for now. These Angmar troops, the Black Numenorians actually up to level 5, dealing a lot of damage, but are in fact going to go down. I think they finally are going to get surrounded here and fall, and that is too bad, as those warriors were, I believe, on the field for quite some time. Pink continuing to rebuild his base here slowly but steadily. Amumikil bones litter the fields of battle here, as the Pelennor Fields, of course the name of this map, Pelennor Fields, is strewn with Corcuses at this point, as the battle here has been raging for quite some time. In fact, my mouth is getting a little dry here. Excuse me, guys, as I take a drink of water so that I can continue casting for you guys. H2O, absolutely delicious. Meanwhile, back to the battle, which actually is at a little bit of a lull right now, as we're not seeing too many units actually engaged. Azog here up a little bit far. You can see how much those Mirkwood archers do to him. He's going to go down for sure as long as they continue to focus him. Does not pull out fast enough. Actually, they stopped focusing him. Why did you stop? Take out Azog. BlueKnight. Finish off Azog, and he is actually going to get out of there. What luck. As BlueKnight deciding that the lives of his Mirkwood a few of his Mirkwood archers is more important than taking out Azog there. I'm not sure I completely agree with him at this point. Reposition. As Azog, especially in 2.02, heroes take a really long time to rebuild, so it would have been really great to get him off the field. Smoke has a ton of units out on the field now, a ton of Rohirrim. Would like to see a couple of Coda added to this army, but for now it looks like it's just going to be the Rohirrim for him. As these units take a rest here, as they've done a lot of damage. Actually, a couple of these units up to level 5. That's pretty impressive for Rohirrim, I would say. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Bushit pushing forward, has a mountain troll. There goes the stun down on Mouth of Sauron from Lurtz, and I think Mouth of Sauron pushed up a little too far here, and these pikemen can easily deal with him. All these units being attacked from the back by these Warg Riders. Actually, should probably cancel that, as these units have basically died. Actually, he wants to lose that before his army grows up there, so he gets that money back if that does not complete. And Lurtz now throwing down his Carnage ability. Mouth of Sauron will indeed fall. 168 resources go there. You can see those Haradrim archers dealing a lot of damage to Lurtz, but I think he should be able to escape just fine. And Isengard, I think, going to be able to pretty much, well, I don't want to say decisively win this battle, but I think they should be able to win, as these units are not quite powerful enough, and these units are all upgraded, as you can see. They do have the armor, they don't have the banner carriers, and they don't have the fire archers, but they do have the armor, which makes them incredibly more difficult to kill Sharku out as well now. Lurtz returning to the battle up to level 9 in the center of the map. We do have a huge battle going here, and what happened to the Goblin's fortress? Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that this was happening, but Smoke just made an incredible attack. I'm sorry I missed it, guys, but it looks like ProStrat here charging forward with all of his Rohirrim, using that glorious charge to mitigate the damage to his troops. As you can see, that ability was just used and took out a ton of his units. What spells did he use actually as well? I'm guessing some spell must have gone down. It was probably Rock Drop here from Bushit. These spells are starting to get pretty high up. Actually, CS not spending his power points this game has decided that power points are too good for him and is basically forfeited going for power points this game. Has 2 spells only and has a ton more powers. I don't know why he's not using those. I think that's a obvious mistake. Either he's completely caught up in the middle of the game, or has basically just decided that like he's too good for powers and just wants to fight it out without them. Either way, Azog is still alive. Would like to kill him now, if possible, as he cannot be respawned, of course, as that fortress is down. He's lost a lot of his infrastructure as well here, and the Goblin's in a lot of trouble. A lot of these Rohirrim going down, but a couple surviving, and of course those units can respawn. Now here comes forward BlueKnight with a ton of Mirkwood archers, ton of sentries. Here comes Andy from behind, though. He isn't giving up on his allies quite yet. These Mirkwoods going to turn and focus the Rohirrim, but too little, too late, as the Rohirrim are amongst them. The Eagles now moving in, though, to protect the remains of these Mirkwoods, and I think there's enough left here to still be able to deal a significant amount of damage. A ton of red over on the left-hand side. It looks like they are defending Isengard here, but right now they should be defending their Goblin player, as he has lost a ton here towards the center. Annie's fortress still fine over on the right-hand side. Has a couple of units moving along the right-hand side as well, beginning to push forward with Gandalf. A couple of heroes here moving forward, Gondor Knights, as well as a catapult here. But I think that Smoke has enough back here, especially as there isn't really any pikemen, that these horsemen can easily deal with pretty much all of these units. I mean, other than the heroes, Coda out now as well, though, and they should be able to easily deal with the heroes. Gandalf actually up to level 6, didn't realize he was out on the field. But I want to go back to the Goblin's base for a moment, as these units are beginning to, or as these buildings are beginning to rebuild. But with the Mirkwood archers still here and dealing so much damage, I'm not sure that these buildings will actually survive long. But here comes Prince Bran, a unit of Dale, a unit of pikemen, and the Mirkwoods going to have to retreat here, as there is not reinforcements quite at this time. We do have the arrow drop going down here. Let's see what that actually takes out, as actually it didn't take out anything, as it apparently didn't drop. Not really sure what happened there. Might have been a little bit of a lag in the game, as that arrow drop may have actually landed before I moved the camera over there. Did that catapult just hit that builder? Do you guys see that? But I guess the catapult now switching back to that fire barrage instead. Actually, what is it called? Switch ammunition. I'm not sure what you have the skull, or the scare ammunition as well, and then the fire ammunition there. The flaming shots, as that mine goes down quite quickly. And these units on the right-hand side, some have been cleaned up, but it looks like a majority have survived here. And now there's a ton of pikemen to help them. These units from Smoke can potentially deal with this barracks here, but they can't deal with these pikemen that are moving in. But there isn't a lot of siege with this. Aragorn is here up to level 8. Boromir actually probably level 9 here, so that's pretty good for both of them. However, they're going to be completely surrounded here, as Pink now has a ton of archers out. The Dark Rangers now out for Pink, and they will begin to deal damage from afar. You can see these troops taking some damage, Boromir especially there, but the horn goes down, and actually he's going to decide not to engage after he uses that. He's going to use that as a retreat strategy. We have the ring now on the field that has been discovered. Where's our Goblin player? Is he rebuilding his fortress? Yes, he is, here in the very far back. So Jaw not completely out of it yet. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Bushit pushing forward with with a large amount of troops. Could build some additional trolls. Looks like he lost that Mumikill pit on the left-hand side, but rebuilt it on the right-hand side. We do actually have the heavy army research ability now coming up from Mordor, as Bushit here continues to push forward. and begins to make a scarier and scarier army here as the game goes on. There goes the War Chant. He is pushing forward. Isengard looking to be in a little bit of trouble, but Saruman is out. Only level 1. Needs to get off a good Wizard Blast if possible. Could do it on some of these units right here, but actually might want to focus on these units instead. But with that down, level 2 has the Firebolt ability and should use it on these units if he's paying attention. Mouth of Sauron has joined the battle though. There goes the weakness spell down on a lot of these dwarven troops. The Cave Troll alive for now, or the Mountain Troll rather. Mouth of Sauron actually should focus on Saruman rather, as he can deal with him very quickly. Saruman moving forward now, actually needs to pull him back, but Mouth of Sauron and all these units focusing him down. Needs to get off the fireball before he dies, if possible. Does manage to get it off, takes out about a single unit there of those Haradrim. Gimli now on the field, or I'm sorry, that's not Gimli, that's actually just a unit of Dwarven Zealots. The Mumakil falls, actually falls on top of all of these Guardians, or on top of the Phalanx there, but they will survive for now. And I think this attack from Bushit here is going to be stifled. He's going to retreat with what little units he has that remain. Meanwhile, in the center, BlueKnight pushing forward with a ton of Mirkwood archers, looking incredibly scary. On the right-hand side, Pink trying to retain, once again, fight over this land a little bit. Has a ton of Dark Rangers. Is he going up to those ice arrows, though, that Angmar is so famous for? I don't see a Dark Iron Forge on the field, so I'm not sure we will see those ice arrows anytime soon. But for now, he is going to just be focusing on getting out those Rangers, cleaning up the infrastructure on the right-hand side here, and pushing Andy back. But Andy now moving forward with more Spearmen, Gondor soldiers, Aragorn, Boromir, tons of trebuchets, probably more on the way as well. And a Hobbit summon goes down here by Andy to try and push back some of these forces. I'm not sure if he should actually be building this right here. He's about to lose this. However, smoke now coming in from the north-hand side, but he has been spotted here by these troops, so these catapults should be safe. Will manage to get the farm and get out of there. So a nice pickup there, very quick, as he did push forward towards the center of the map. All of these Elven archers getting overrun by these goblins. There's so many goblins on the field. Azog still alive in the middle of this, hasn't gone down. The Goblin Fortress is now back up on the field, so of course those power spells back for him to use. Uruk Deathbringers being summoned here, as they will begin, as two of them will rollerblade away, one will jog it away, but now turning back around, actually has lost quite a few of those. I believe that unit is going to go down there, as these Haradrim actually deal a lot of damage, even though there's only two of them. It's a pretty impressive amount of damage they deal to the Deathbringers there. I do hear a Tom Bombadil summon that's going to be in the center here, no doubt by BlueKnight, as he pretty much loves Tom Bombadil. Actually, it's by ProStrat. There goes the spell, the Sonic Blast. Actually, two Tom Bombadils. Whose does this one belong to? It is going to be by BlueKnight, yes. I know that BlueKnight loves Tom Bombadil. I don't even know how I know it. I just know he does. He seems to always go for Tom Bombadil, at least whenever I'm playing with them, it seems. But he has plenty of forces here, so I don't think he's in trouble of getting overrun by any chance. And on the right side of the fortresses here, plenty of units to defend against Andy's impending attack, no doubt. Only has those two trebuchets still. Does he have any more on the way? Actually does not. And instead is adding a couple of Rohirrim to his army composition, which I don't necessarily disagree with, especially with all these archers on the field. But the Witch King of Angmar is now on the field. The Witch King himself has joined the battle. Needs to be very careful what he wants to attack there. Actually, Andy, a little bit of a mistake attacking his own troops there. As he attempted to hit the Witch King, but that was a great dodge there. And the Witch King running around the backside can begin to focus these trebuchets, although these pikemen can easily deal with the Witch King, as he will begin to take a ton of damage if he engages those. The trebuchets will survive for now. Tom Bombadil being summoned, I believe, by Andy here, as these units move forward to try and put pressure on this base. The Witch King does not want to charge into that. Going to take a ton of damage and falls very quickly. A huge mistake there by Pink, as that is an incredibly expensive hero. to lose. Towards the center, towards the north of the map, looks like we have a worm beginning to arise from the depths. We'll begin to deal with a lot of these troops of BlueKnight. Will lose a majority of his archers as well as his pikemen here. The rally call goes down. I'm not sure that's what he wants to, where he wants to put it right now, though, as those units did not actually. There we go, as they do get hit on the rebirth there of the worm from the ground. Actually, might pick off a couple of these right here as they run by. Not sure who these belong to. Actually, these might belong to Andy. Yes, they do. So they won't actually be in danger of being attacked by that worm. Tons of dwarven catapults here in the back with the fire upgrade, and we actually have a rock drop going down, and that is going to pretty much clear up this side, or this attack rather, as these forces have been completely obliterated, and the goblins as well as the dwarves seeming to be okay for now. On the right hand side, the army of the dead forcing back all of Andy's troops. This is, I believe, from ProStrat, as he begins to push back forward, and it looks like Andy might be in a little bit of trouble here as he's lost the majority of his forces. Needs to get some additional troops out on the field. Is going to lose this barracks. Probably going to lose all of his mines as well. Might lose his outpost as well. And that's going to be a really great pick up if Smoke can indeed take that, and it looks like he will be able to. But towards the center of the map, we have a lot of dwarves now moving forward, glowing on the field. Level 3 actually set in defensive mode at the time, and finally we have the Witch King out flying on his Fell Beast here. Taking quite a while to get that hero out was Bushit, but now he is out on the field, can begin to harass and deal with any ground units that don't have a ranged attack. Flies towards the south here. I'm not actually sure where he's going or why he's going down here. I think he might have lost track of him a little bit. Maybe just searching for, random builders, random units harassing here in the back. Isn't going to find any, though, as there really isn't any on the field right now. We do have Kamul out as well. And did he really go for all of the heroes or all of the Nazgul that are not my favorite? Obviously, in case you guys don't know, Morgamir is my favorite Nazgul. I will always get him out first over Kamul, and he's gone for both the Nazgul that are not Morgamir. So Bushit here basically deciding to disown my own Nazgul and go for his own. Very well, fine. Pick what you want, Bushit. I'll deal with it. Nevertheless, these units are dealing a lot of damage from the skies. There isn't a lot of archers out on the field. Well, there is now, as our Isengard player has realized that there's plenty of flying beasts out on the field and needs to get out those archers to defend against them. Needs to be very careful here. Does not want to get in range of those fire archers, as these flying as the Fell Beasts here will take a ton of damage, especially from those fire archers. So wants to be careful if possible. Could even potentially land them, although he doesn't receive the bonus anymore for rebuilding them after they're landed. And some of you may be familiar with that ability in 2.01, but there's a huge run through. All the archers go down. A great play here by ProStrat as he deals with all of those archers, and that's going to make these Nazgul incredibly powerful and relevant on the field right now, especially against Isengard, as he's lost a lot of his defenses against them. Here comes the dwarves in from the center. Glowin using a slam ability there, only up to level 4 though. And these Nazgul, I think, should focus on potentially these catapults. Fire Drake's out now as well, and they'll begin to roast away a lot of these orcs. Here comes the Nazgul in. We'll begin to focus on, it looks like, the archers first, as he'll want to take out those. Mordor's catapults missing the Dwarven catapult here. And here goes down a Wraith Summon. Wow, this is incredibly powerful here, as a lot of these units are going to be turned into Wraiths. Wow. What a great play here by our Angmar player, as he basically just converted that entire army into the undead here. And these whites here, I believe I was calling them Wraiths. Either way, That army is gonzo. A great play by our pink player here, really, who has remained in this game despite losing his fortress quite early on, has proven that he does still, or is definitely making himself still known out on the map. This army is going to be a summon here by, is it by Andy? Yes, it is, and a Watcher as well. Going to be thrown down by the ring to take out all of those Morkwood archers. Chasing down a couple of these units as well. Elrond in a lot of trouble, only level 1, so hasn't even been on the field very long. There goes the Floodgate expansion. This Army of the Dead continuing to chase down these troops. I think might actually catch some of them there, as those troops will die very quickly. As that Army of the Dead slices right through them. But I think Elrond's going to escape actually here. This Mirkwood level 2 would be really nice to save if he can. And I think the Army of Dead times out, so he does in fact save that unit as well. A nice play there by BlueKnight. Is going to be losing a couple of buildings along the right-hand side here, but with the trebuchets, with the additional archers here, this attack will not last. And somehow, someway, this game continuing to go on from the north side. Here comes Isengard, though, pushing forward with quite a big force. The movement kill should not engage here. There's a ton of pikemen. Goes down very quickly. The catapult in the back dealing some damage. Mouth of Sauron now up to level 8. A couple of fell beasts still in the air. Hasn't been able to take those out. There's plenty of archers here, though, as well as lurts. So wants to be careful about engaging if possible there. This catapult beginning to work on the furnace here towards the center of the base. And it is really a mystery to me at this point who is actually going to win. There comes down Avalanche, though, by Agmar. And that huge attack from Isengard has been stunted. He is going to have to fall back as these units. Mouth of Sauron could use his eye right there. Does, in fact, use that to take out a large portion of Saruman's health. But Lurt's able to stun him, so he cannot continue the pursuit. However, 2 Nazgul in the air might be able to deal enough damage before he gets back. It's going to be actually pretty close, as you can see the amount of damage they deal as they swoop in there. Saruman trying to retreat as fast as he can, and I think Bushit, I don't think he wants to get in any closer. There's a lot of firepower here. He really wants Saruman, though. Is going to send in both Nazgul. Does manage to take him out. Can he get the Nazgul out, though? That is going to be the real bonus if he can get both of these Nazgul. Is going to get one out. This one actually staying in a little too long. Needs to pull out. There aren't any archers out on the field. Just this one group that just popped out. And both Nazgul going to get out. So a smart play there by Bushit. Able to take out an incredibly expensive hero. A powerful hero as well. So it puts Saruman off the field for quite a while. And is going to give our Mordor player a pretty decent edge here, I think, in this battle against Isengard. Meanwhile, towards the center of the map, a huge attack by the dwarves as they continue to push forward. Phalanx, upgraded Men of Dale, a ton of units here in the front. Wildmen being summoned by, I guess, by our... Actually, that's by the blue player, so that's going to be by our Goblin player. But with ProStrat coming in with all of his units here, these units going to go down incredibly fast. There's no pikemen here. All of these goblins are going to die incredibly quickly. The Mountain Giant, an incredibly expensive unit, going to die as well, as this will go down very, very quickly to these Rohirrim. And especially to the Coda. As you can see, that Giant goes down almost instantaneously there. Might lose the Builder as well. Azog going to be in trouble of being chased down. The Builder might just be able to get out of there. The Coda do spot it, though, and do pick it off from behind. Here comes the Nazgul as well. Finally, do we have Morgomir? Nope, still Kamul. Boo. But those Nazgul are still doing a lot of damage, and he's still trying to push in from the right-hand side. I mean, he's not doing nothing. He's slowly pushing these units or these players farther to the left side of their base. But every time he gets in close, it seems like he just can't finish the job. And might lose his catapult now. Actually has a couple of pikemen coming back. Needs to save that if possible. But the catapult going to be chased down by these snow trolls. These snow trolls actually might even survive. No, the snow trolls will go down. But for the catapult, I think that's well worth the sacrifice. A unit of Goblin of the Fire Drake Brood standing over here by the well, and I think that's been completely forgotten about it. We have a beacon going down. I'm not really sure why that was placed down. Drogoth now out on the field. Finally, we have the Dragon Lord for the Goblin player, who has plenty of high damage units out on the field at this point. Just needs to get those together and make a powerful attack. At some point, one of these teams has to break through. I'm just not sure which one and when, as I'm basically wondering who is actually going to be able to win this game. The game has now been going on for something like 50 minutes, you guys, as these players are all starting to get probably a little exhausted. If you've been playing for almost an hour, no doubt your reflexes are going to be beginning to slow. You're getting tired. You're not thinking as clearly. You know, this game has been going on a long time, and there's been a lot to watch. There's been a lot to pay attention to, and these players desperately trying to push forward now, trying to claim victory. And at this point in the game, it's still not really clear who's even in the lead. Nevertheless, who's going to win? Drogoth dealing a lot of damage there. BlueKnight being pushed back. Bushit not able to really claim to take advantage of Isengard here, either, as Saruman has been down. He's been able to hold just fine, but he hasn't been able to push. And Isengard's been remaining strong, providing quite a challenge here for Bushit right now. Does finally have a group of some siege units out on the field, but here comes the Summon Dragon out on the field, right in the center. He needs to begin attacking as soon as possible. There goes the Fire Breath down. Is going to lose several of his buildings here. Should focus on some of these production structures. Could reposition to the backside here as well. Begin to take out a couple more structures. The Dragon here actually taking very little damage so far from this fortress. I'm not actually sure where it's going. Here comes a huge attack, though, from the fortress, as that will shoot out here towards the front. And goodbye all of Isengard's reinforcements, as he lost all of his archers there. But the Dragon isn't quite finished yet. Is going to begin to work down this fortress here, which actually isn't taking an incredible amount of damage from this Dragon. And yeah, I think he realized that, so he is going to try to focus on something else instead with the Dragon. And I think this Great Siege Works is going to be is going to be the correct choice, as this has been incredibly annoying, producing a ton of catapults all game. Malthusarn back on the field. Apparently he died at some point. This Dragon is going to time out, needs to focus on these buildings instead. A Earthshake goes down, though, from Andy, no doubt. Here comes the Summon Dragon ability as well, or is it a Summon Dragon? I'm not even sure what it's called. But that's going to go right down on the fortress here. This fortress taking a ton of damage. Bushit here in a ton of trouble as all of these forces converge at once. All of these spells converge at once. And a Balrog summon on the right-hand side here as well, though. Andy in a lot of trouble. Summons the rebuild. Both players' fortresses going down. Eagles are summoned now as well to try and push down Andy's fortress. Both fortresses and a lot of damage, but Bushit's fortress goes down. He has lost his fortress. Malthusarn barely making it back onto the field. But at this point, Andy cannot use his summon powers. The Balrog has been killed, but Andy's fortress now in a lot of trouble, as well as all of his units focusing down the fortress. Is there another rebuild available? I don't think so. I think he already used it. Drogoth here. No, now he uses it just now. So the fortress should survive. I don't think there's enough firepower here, and the Witch King actually needs to retreat. If he loses this, he cannot rebuild it right now. He does not have a fortress standing, so he needs to pull back the Witch King. But Drogoth has spotted him, is chasing him down, and I think Drogoth out damages the Witch King here, as he is basically attacking him from above here relentlessly. But the Summon Ents ability goes down from BlueKnight, and that is going to be focusing on the fortress of Andy here. The Army of the Dead is summoned as well to deal with all of these troops. The Ents should be safe, but there's a Hobbit summon going down as well here from... Whose actually Hobbits are these? I can't actually tell. There are Andy's Hobbits, and those will begin to focus down the Ents. But Drogoth returns. The Witch King returns to begin to fight Drogoth, though. The Ents have taken a lot of damage, but are continuing to deal damage to the Fortress of Andy. The team on the bottom here needs to deal some sort of game-ending damage here to Andy. Otherwise, they're in a terrible spot as they've lost one of their main players here holding up on the left-hand side. So Andy needs to go down if possible here. Drogoth takes out one of the Ents. One survives, though, throws off another boulder. I think he needs 2 more in order to take down this fortress. Will it time out? He won't time out. Drogoth needs to turn around and begin focusing down this Ent. There's one. The Witch King returns. The Witch King is absolutely almost dead. Remember, he does not want to lose this if possible. The Witch King is going to fall to the fortress, but the fortress goes down, and somehow, some way, the bottom team has taken out Andy's fortress. And just like that, the game has once again evened up somewhat, as both teams have lost a major player on their team, have lost a fortress on their team, and Andy actually is rebuilding his fortress already, almost immediately throwing down that rebuild on the fortress as he realized this was going down. Bushit doing the same, and all of these fortresses are really, really close together now. This is going to be a really difficult corner or bottom side to break for these teams. But Saruman beginning to push forward with a group of his Isengard warriors, and until these fortresses are up, actually Bushit's fortress is almost back up, so he should be allowed those summon powers again very soon. Actually, I want to take a look and see what these players have gone for. It looks like Flood was used at some point by one of these players. I mean, there's just no way that I can catch all of these spells going down. Rain of Fire now beginning to recharge as well. It looks like Barrage is almost back up for Bushit here, as he has both of those level 25 abilities. Earthshake available for ProStrat as well has been used. Jaw actually only at level, hasn't made it quite to his level 25 ability yet, although should be there relatively soon. Finally, our CS player deciding to go for those summon spells. If you guys recall earlier in the game, actually didn't buy any. There, once again, is the summon spells by Agmar. The arrow drop, the rights, the weakness spell. Wow, this is going to deal a ton of damage, as almost all of those units here are going to be turned to rights. Once again, is trying to retreat with what little remains of his army, being chased down by these Coda. Actually, I'm not sure they want to engage these pikemen, though, as that might be a little bit of a mistake. Isengard pushing in from the right-hand side. Looks like he might take out this outpost, and that's going to be a little bit of a thorn in the side of our bottom team here, as they've lost a lot of their mind space. I'm not actually sure how much money they have here. It looks like BlueKnight sitting okay at about 5k. Pink in a little bit of trouble at only 18. Andy actually at 7,000. He has plenty. Bushit, though, has just built up his fortress, and Bushit only sitting at 900. Could potentially lose this outpost. Yes, he's going to lose that, I believe. I did hear the Watcher go down somewhere. It looks like right here in the center, and that's going to take out a majority of our Elven players' troops. And I think at this point, I'm going to say the team on the top is definitely in the lead, as Andy has rebuilt his fortress. There's a ton of Dwarven units on the field. But most importantly, I want to say they control the majority of the map, and that means they control the majority of the resources. And with that majority, they're going to be able to continue to pump out high power, high damage dealing units, whereas the team on the bottom is going to be saving and scrapping for basically all of their units at this point. I mean, Saruman goes down, so that's a nice pickup there by Mouth of Sauron, who's almost up to level 10. But he's not quite there yet. And despite having a couple of powerful heroes on the field, they don't have the ability to really get any more out on the field. And if they lose some, they're not going to have the funds to rebuild them. Drogoth dealing some damage here on some of these units. It is going to be a summon by Andy, though. And these Eagles going to go down very quickly to that summon. Mouth of Sauron is over here. Could begin to be focused down by some of these Rangers. The Goblins pushing forward as well. We do have a beacon being placed down. Could potentially see a rock drop on some of these Dwarven troops, which I believe is still available to Bushit. However, he needs to really use it almost to defend his fortress right here. Well, this is really a terrible place for a rock drop, as there isn't a lot of forces here. Another Army of the Dead summon goes down. It's going to be on the right-hand side here. A defensive summon by Aragorn, or actually it's an offensive summon by Aragorn, rather, as Andy moves in with his level 10 Aragorn now. Drogoth up to level 5, pushing in from the right-hand side. Fire Drakes moving in, dealing a lot of damage to Pink's troops, who's already starving for resources. And I think this bottom team is looking to be in a ton of trouble as these units do move in, beginning to deal a lot of damage. Looks like a couple of stray units here in the back going to get picked off, but as soon as all of these Dwarven units move in, it might be GG for the bottom team here. I mean, what can they really do at this point to come back in this game? They need an incredible defense, a powerful counterattack, and they basically need to take out one of the opposing teams, opposing team members, which can. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it's very difficult to do, especially at this late stage in the game where you're going to have buildings pretty much all over the map. And remember, our top team is dealing with plenty of resources, so it's not like they don't have money to rebuild fortresses and rebuild, make some additional builders. The buildings of ProStrat now being succumbed to this pressure from the right-hand side. He has lost pretty much everything over here, as this is pretty much owned by the top team now. And now here comes the Dwarves with 3 iron catapults. The Fire Drake's going to go down, but this Stables is in a lot of trouble. The Coda actually can't be built. He doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough command points. He doesn't have enough farm space to build those farms to actually get his command points up. Now he is moving. It looks like somewhat regaining some territory here along the left side of the map. Bushit rebuilding his outpost here in an attempt, I repeat, to get back some of his income here. But his fortress has taken, substantial damage. More troops moving in from the north, as well as the Dwarves. Let's take a look at these iron catapults on the right-hand side. Actually moving them in a little close. Going to begin focusing down some of these buildings. Does take out one of the catapults. The other 2 catapults okay here. Here comes the rock drop. Where is that actually on? It's going to be on, looks like right sort of here, to take out some of these catapults, as well as deal some preliminary damage to these fortresses. Both catapults do go down. I believe that was an attack here from the Angmar fortress. Yes, it was, the Winter's Wrath, to take out those catapults. So that should buy them some time. Here comes down the Avalanche as well. Almost placed a little bit behind there. Some of these units in the front may survive. Barely. Pretty good placement there by Pink. Malthasaran beginning to deal with some of these heroes, but Aragorn still alive. Could use Blade Master if he decides to. More units from the east here. The Witch King attempting to deal with some of these archers, and might be able to deal with, some of them here or there. But really, the attack continues as these forces continue to push forward. Although here comes ProStrat with a ton of his units. Going to be pushing back, going for that build. Should go for that builder, as he does immediately take him out. But here comes Drogoth now to deal with these horsemen. Throws down the dragon ability there on the Witch King, who takes a lot of damage from that, and will begin to engage these Rohirrim. Azog and Aragorn both activating their abilities there. But Drogoth's going to have to fall back as soon as he runs into a couple of these Dark Rangers on the left-hand side. Actually, Lurch goes down from a giant eagle here, so that's pretty impressive by that giant eagle. But nevertheless, I think one giant eagle isn't really going to be enough to stop all of Isengard, as we actually have the Fire Drake now on the field as well. I don't know if you guys are hearing it, but I'm getting like a rain spell. Did someone activate freezing rain? Yeah, I think someone did. As you can barely see it here on Pelennor Fields, as the scenery is already kind of dull a little bit, so it's hard to tell that it's actually that freezing rain spell has actually been issued. That's actually quite loud. I'm a little surprised how loud that rain is. Nevertheless, we will push through the storm here and continue our cast, which has now been going on for over an hour. These players backed into the very bowels of their base, the bowels of their side, as the enemy begins to push in from all angles. We do have a Earthshake going down here by Andy, and that takes out a decent amount of buildings, as well as Bushit's fortress. There goes the rebuild, as well as the winter spell to protect this fortress. Needs to use the Gorgonov Spire right there, right now, if he can. But I don't know, can he launch it when it's frozen? That's actually my question right now. And a second earthquake or something is going down over here. All the power is being used at once here in conjunction to really deal a ton of damage. And this is one of the dangers of building your buildings, your fortresses all so close together, that one earthquake can deal damage to 2 fortresses there. And I think these units need to push forward now that the fortresses have been damaged. They should push forward and begin to try in an attempt to deal a final, finishing blow. A ton of fire drakes here for our goblin player. I really do like seeing this, as this is kind of cool. You got the babies, and here's the mama, and the dragon overhead. Sure, why not? As he is leading the charge here. We'll actually have to see how much damage these units do. I'm really interested to see if they just kind of run in and die, or if they can actually get some significant damage done with that fire breath attack. Saruman leading the charge from the north side. Isengard actually not producing as many units here as I'd like to see them produce. Would like to see him. I mean, he has plenty of barracks. I mean, grab some berserkers, get some high damage dealing units out on the field, and push forward, deal that game-ending damage to some of these to these enemy forces, to these enemy's buildings. But for now, it looks like we're witnessing a little bit of a slow death for our bottom team. I'm not sure that they have the wherewithal to come back in this game. I mean, I know they have the necessary skill, but I think they might just be a little too far behind. Even if they win a decisive battle, I mean, they basically have to have another troop to fight almost instantly, and a ton of Army of the Dead's going down here, as this game is starting to really lag as these players, as there's just so much going on the map here. Summon Dragon goes down here as well, and I am zoomed out as far as I possibly can go, as the amount of damage being dealt here and the amount of spells being thrown down is really impressive. This Summon Dragon dealing so much damage. Dragon Strike, that was the name of the other spell. We do have a Balrog coming in here as well. This is going to be Jaws Balrog, and finally he is up to level 25 in terms of points, Juntas, and now is beginning to push forward with all of his fortresses. The Dragon, the Balrog, the Fire Drakes. What can men do against such evil? I believe is the appropriate line at this junction in the game. The Mirkwood Archers' homes here going to be completely destroyed. The catapults from afar dealing a lot of damage. Does get taken out there temporarily by the Witch King, or not temporarily, just gets taken out. But the Mirkwood Archer stronghold goes down here. Does have a couple of additional ones. These are not really looking to be in that good of shape. The Summon Dragon now leaving as well, as he flies away there. Rather, actually just repositions, as he still has plenty of time actually left. This fortress is starting to look like to be in a lot of trouble. A ton of Warg Riders out as well. Summon Dragon needs to focus down some of these buildings if possible, or focus on the fortress. If you're going to go for that, then go for it. But we'll instead take out that barracks. We have oh my gosh, ProStrat has beaconed that there is about 10 cave trolls running across the map, and this is a really cool sight. You don't often see this, as cave trolls rarely team up, but in this instance they are indeed charging forward here, and this looks to be a terrible trouble for BlueKnight, as all of these cave trolls now get in range. The Balrog here as well might go down before he finishes his timer here, but he's gonna pretty much exhaust it there. And these cave trolls beginning to work down the fortress here. I hear a rock drop going down somewhere. Looks like over here, as Bushit's fortress going to go down. Several siege. The fortress in the front actually survived temporarily from the spell from Angmar here, but it's not going to be enough. I think Bushit has been eliminated here. Has CS been... Yeah, it looks like CS actually left the game at some point. I did see that when I was downloading this game. Did have actually a connection problem, was not defeated, but did have a connection problem, so he actually dropped out of the game. But even with him gone, it looks like there is enough firepower here from the North team. Bushit goes down, is going to lose his final building here. And the remaining players here fighting their hearts out, staying in as long as possible, putting up a valiant fight for their side of Middle-earth. But the team at the top, I believe, is going to be the victors. And now we have none other than Jawdatll making her way onto the field, is going to be charging forward here. And with that one ring, she is incredibly powerful, has that Nature's Wrath ability as well as the Terrible Fury. Would love to see her get into battle over here if possible. But I'm not even sure the team on the bottom is going to last that long. Annie pushing in with a couple of units from the bottom here. More cave trolls moving across the map. The Sun Flare goes down on the left-hand side. That deals a ton of damage. As absolutely all of those units, except for Lurtz, are completely roasted by that. But the rain begins to fall.
Hey guys, so my cast actually dropped there for a second, but I did have to actually restart the replay. But here we will just go ahead and finish watching the end of this cast as we get to sort of the last moments as a couple of these cave trolls move forward here to finish off the fortress of BlueKnight, which will indeed fall. And these cave trolls and Jawdatll continuing to push forward now to the final two fortresses, that of Pink and that of ProStrat. He's actually producing a builder right now. Jawdatll throws down the tornado ability. That catapult actually just hit this fortress right in the peak there. And who is this guy? Look at this guy, like doing like constant somersaults over here. This looks, oh, I think that's the builder for the fortress. That is crazy. Nevertheless, I've never seen that before, and that fortress is indeed going to fall. And ProStrat will only be able to hold on here momentarily as these forces all collide. So I want to thank all of you guys for going ahead and tuning into this cast. I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. Congratulations to the team on the top for a well-fought battle, and as well to the team on the bottom for a long and hard-fought battle. Despite losing it, they definitely put on a good show, and a definite back-and-forth battle for sure. We will go ahead and just finish up watching this final fortress here fall as ProStrat holds on to the last man here in this specific instance. The stables goes down, the fortress goes down, and that is game over. Thanks everybody again for tuning in. Again, everybody stay tuned. More replays and more news on this game to come out soon. Master Cloud signing out.